All right, welcome back. Sports Show, YouTube, some NFL. We're going to be going down here. Obviously, previewing the Super Bowl. We're going over some headlines, too. We're going over the new Hall of Fame class that went in. A lot of big names in this year's Hall of Fame class. Also go over a new defensive coordinator for the boys. How about them Cowboys getting a defensive coordinator? Talk about that. Go over the NFL awards as the MVP, Rookie of the Year, all that stuff was handed out last night. We'll also play a new game, a kinky game. Play some up and down. For NFL, be going over the teams that we think are on their way up or on their way down. We'll do that. Jets owner Woody Johnson talking some shit about Zach Wilson. Do that. And Mike Vrabel, too intimidating apparently to be a head coach. And Nick Saban.
That's funny.
It is funny, man. I mean, you would think with fucking Campbell being his physical status that he has, seemed to work out well for the Lions. And Nick Saban going to College game day. We'll touch on that, but let's kick it off here. The NFL handed out some awards last night. MVP Lamar Jackson, second time he's won the MVP, took the Ravens to a 13-4 record, 3,000 yards, 800 rushing yards. Do you agree with this choice here for the NFL's MVP, Lamar Jackson?
Regular season, sure. Postseason, nope. They got to move the awards to include postseason, too.
That's a good point, actually. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I would have gave it to McCaffrey. I thought, I'm sick of all these damn quarterbacks. Lamar, I mean, the record, they got hot, very hot towards the end of the season as the Lions found out when they got steamrolled by him. But not really going to fight on the hill for it. It's whatever. Lamar Jackson. Offensive player of the year, McCaffrey, though. Almost 1,500 rushing yards, 114 first down rushes, 44 plays of 10 rushing yards or more for the offensive player of the year, McCaffrey. Agree or disagree with that one. I really impartial either way when it comes to that one. Offense. Yeah,
he's going to get the San Francisco bias.
Yeah. That's another thing. How long do you think it's going to be until we have somebody besides a quarterback win an MVP award?
I mean, that's a very good question. It's the people that are MVPs that aren't quarterbacks, and Lamar. Don't get me started. That's a mess.
Yeah, I would think a defensive player will probably have a chance to win it more than a wide receiver or a running back, but kind of sick of seeing all these quarterbacks take it. Offensive Rookie of the Year, the Texans cleaned up on this, and the Defensive Rookie of the Year. C.J. Stroud, 4,100 yards passing, had 191 passes without an interception to kick off his career. Had almost a 500-yard passing game in Week 9. Versus Tampa Bay. We talked about it multiple times, man. He was my MVP before he had that injury. C.J. Stroud, what an incredible rookie season out there for the Texans, man.
That's got to be one of the best rookie seasons of all time for a quarterback. I mean, look what they did. That team was absolutely terrible last year, drafted second, and they not only got into the playoffs, they won a playoff game.
Right. They got a playoff win out of that, man. And even he had one of his top receivers, Tank Dell, went down, but him and Nico Collins, the running back they have from Buffalo, escapes my fucking name, had a good season too. I think he's a free agent, but a lot of things good going out there. With the Texans, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson, another Texans. Incredible draft they had, obviously. What was it, the number 2 and 3 pick I think they had in this year's draft?
Yep.
Right? Yeah, Anderson wins your Defensive Rookie of the Year with 7 sacks. Had a little 2-game injury he had, but another good season good season actually for Will Anderson with the Texans. Coach of the Year, I mean, this one could have went to the head coach out there for the Texans too. Ends up going to the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. He's actually won it twice now. 11-6 record. Browns had to overcome a lot of stuff. I thought Dan Campbell should have been at least closer in this as far as the voting went, but they said 2-time Coach of the Year, Kevin Sanowski, out there with the Browns. 11-6. You had 5 different starting quarterbacks on that Cleveland Brown team. The defense played absolutely amazing. Watson went out. Chubb went out. Do you think this one was a fair award here given out to the Cleveland Brown head coach?
I mean, they had a good season, all things considered, but I thought DeMeco Ryan should have gotten it.
Yeah, I would have went Ryan, and then I would have went Dan Campbell second, actually. But when you do look at how many quarterbacks play for that Cleveland team, can't really argue too much of that. Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Flacco for the Cleveland Browns.
It should have been.
Yeah. And then
can I have a little rant about that?
Yeah, go for it.
About that award? Before he won it, the betting odds were all going to Damar Hamlin. I'm sorry. The man recorded 1 tackle the whole season. I get he died. I get it. But he's not an impact player. He's not. He's probably going to get cut in the offseason. That man had no business being in the running for that award at all.
Yeah, he had that injury. Obviously, 2 years ago now, right? I think he had that injury 2 years ago.
Yeah,
it
it
almost would have been like a feel-good award instead of actually for production on the field. So,
yeah,
said he died.
Yep, Flacco, absolutely the guy that deserved that award. Absolutely.
Defensive Player of the Year, another Cleveland Brown here. Myles Garrett didn't lead the league in sacks, but he had 14. Some of the little, sabermetric stats, I guess, if you want to call it in football. Second in pass rush win as far as one-on-one battles. Third in double team percentage at 28%. 14 sacks on the season. Like I said, Cleveland had an amazing defense the entire year. Think Myles Garrett deserved this, or somebody else could have got it?
And Myles Garrett had no business winning that award. He was terrible this year. He's not even a top 5 defensive player statistically. No. Watt deserved that award without question, but everyone hates the Steelers. So Myles Garrett's terrible. He's not good, but his pass rush win rate.
Oh no! Is that like? Did you feel? So I'm guessing you feel the same way about that as you do as what is it? The hard contact or exit velocity in baseball?
Yeah. Remember us talking about that with Torque last year, and he was fucking terrible.
Yeah. All right, let's play some up and down, up and down, up and down.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna go over.
I'm excited for this.
We're gonna go over every team. I want you to give me if they're on their way up or they're on their way down. Let's start in the AFC East. Miami, up or down?
Down.
Down. Ooh,
I think they got to get rid of Tua.
Wow, you're getting some hot takes all over the damn place here. I'm saying up. And if you just look at their division, man, they're going to hang on to that thing for a couple years. Tua, I think, fits well in that offense, just launching it downfield. So I got Miami up. Buffalo, up or down?
Down.
Down, yeah, I agree. They had a nice little run there to get in the playoffs, but damn, something ain't working out there. Stephon Diggs, I think, is gone. They got to make some major changes out there. The New York Jets, up or down?
Well, you got to say up because can they really go any further down how bad this season was?
Yeah, I agree. And plus, they're getting.
I don't think they're be good, but
yeah, they're getting Aaron Rodgers back, and they got some offensive weapons. Defense was good last year. I also had them up. New England, up or down?
I gotta be up because you can't go any further down than what they have 2 fucking wins.
Yeah, I'm gonna say down. They got a mess at that quarterback position. I really do think it's gonna get worse, actually, at least for another year or two. And I do love the Patriots.
Yeah, I could see it. I don't like that hire.
Yeah, I got the Pats going down. All right, the South Texans, up or down?
Oh, up. Yeah, I'm buying stock on the Texans. They're going to be phenomenal for a long time.
Here's a tricky one: Jacksonville.
What were they this year? Like 9-7, weren't they? Or
yeah, they had
10-7 or something?
I don't want to call them a monumental collapse, but they were pretty well on their way into the playoffs and just kind of had some horrible games there towards the end of the season.
I still believe in Trevor Lawrence, so I'm going to say up.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, right? It's really him and Etienne, the running back. Josh Allen, their big playmaker, defensive end. They've pretty much came out and said that they're going to do whatever it takes to re-sign him. I just think the division being what it is, I got to put them up as well. The Colts, they going up or they going down?
Down. Yeah. I think they're kind of a disaster. I don't really see what they're doing out there. I think that head coaching hire was pretty bad. Quarterback situation is just very Kenny Pickett-esque. It's very missing. So I don't really see them getting markedly better than they are.
Yeah, I agree. I got them going down too. I'm not really high on Richardson, the rookie quarterback who did get hurt.
No, me either.
We'll see what he does with the full year to be fair. And I love Jonathan Taylor, but I also have them going down. Tennessee, up or down?
Oh, way the fuck down. They're going to be terrible.
Hey, I agree. I don't know what the hell they're doing getting rid of Mike Vrabel. That just ownership.
Nope, neither do I.
That was a fucking mess. All right, Baltimore. We got them up or down? Baltimore.
Down. This was a chance to do it. And I think that, if Joe Burrow stays healthy, that division is going to be very good next year. So, yeah, down.
Maybe we should add one in here. How about equal? Because
they could go out and do the same regular season.
yeah,
You know,
I got them equal. I mean, we're doing this obviously before off season and the draft and all that shit. I guess looking at it at face value, I think they can do what they did next year. But like you said, that division was handed to them. You can remember how tight that division was for a lot of weeks with Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Well, they were all like 7-8, 8-8. They were all like fighting for that playoff spot, and the Burrow injury really kind of freed it up. And Cleveland with their injuries they had as well. So I'm gonna give them the new one we're doing. I guess we should have introduced this for the other ones we did, but I'm going equal.
the same.
Yeah. Cleveland, up or down?
Ooh. Down, because I don't think Flacco's there again next year.
Right.
I think this was like a 1-year thing for him.
Oh yeah, with John
And
Watson's a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't see where they're going with Watson, because he was terrible when he was healthy last year. And we got Nick Chubb out there. I mean, his knee literally just evaporated. So how's he going to be coming back from that? And
Chubb.
I think that they're going to be worse.
Yeah, I agree. I got them on the way.
Plus the division, tough division.
Pittsburgh, up or down?
Down significantly.
Oh, so I'll put 2.
I hate the Arthur Smith hire. I think that's a total Mike Tomlin thing to do. Their offense is going to be terrible again. Kenny Pickett stinks. He's not even going to be handed the starting, and he shouldn't be. He's going to have to compete for it with probably Mason Rudolph. But they got a lot of money tied up in a lot of defensive guys that aren't that great other than Watt. So their cap situation stinks. Their quarterback situation stinks. Their OC stinks. Tomlin stinks. Not great.
I'm gonna put equal. They back their way into the playoffs. I think they'll float around 500 next year as well, unless they do some moves in the offseason or develop some of the guys that they have. So I'm going to take them equal. Cincinnati, I definitely have up. What do you got for Cincinnati?
I have a conditional up for that. Can I do that?
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Up, provided that Joe Burrow can finally stay healthy. Because when he stayed healthy 2 years ago, he walked almost a title. So if they can stay healthy, and they need O-line help, they got to go figure something out for that O-line. That's why he keeps getting hurt, because their O-line is disastrous. So if he stays healthy and they get some pieces, up. Otherwise, repeat it this year, I guess.
Right, yeah, I got them up as well. The West, Kansas City, up or down? Equal.
I think they might go down, because I've got a sneaky feeling Kelsey and or not Kelsey, it's Kelsey, right? Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Yeah. Travis Kelsey.
I think he's retiring, and I think Andy Reid's probably going to step away too, because there's been a lot of talk about both of them stepping away.
Yeah.
So if they do, I think it could get ugly out there.
I know Reid's already came out and said he's going to stick around for a while, but you don't know the emotions after you win the Super Bowl, or at least at the end of the season. So I'm going to say equal. I think they'll be just as competitive as they were. I don't think that window's closing, at least next year. The Raiders, up or down? They having a new coach out there with Antonio Pierce, the linebacker, being the new coach out there. You got up or down? Jacobs a free agent too, by the way, for the Vegas.
Up. I like that hire. I love the attitude that they've got out there, the culture that they're building, and I don't think they're going to be phenomenal, but I think that they're going to get it together next year.
Yeah, those sound bites after every win is pretty fucking hilarious with Pierce out there. Broncos, up or down?
Down. I think that's a complete fucking disaster out there. I don't see what they're doing.
Yeah, and that whole shit they tried to do with Russell Wilson was just dirty shit. Wanting to put him on the bench just for the contract reasons and shit when you're competing for a playoff spot. Come on, what's more important, a fucking salary cap or making the playoffs? So I agree. That was some shady shit by Peyton and all them over there. Chargers, Jimmy Harbaugh, up or down?
What were they this year?
That's a good question, actually, and I don't have my phone next to me to check it out. I
me
would think they were
play
close to
Chargers.
around 500. I know the defense was a fucking mess the entire goddamn year out there for the Chargers.
The Chargers were 5-12.
Yeah, damn, that was worse than I thought.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can't go any further down than that.
yeah, no shit, right? All right, NFC, them boys, up or down for Dallas?
Down. I think that they're on the precipice of some of that starting to fall apart a little bit. They've had so many windows. Mike McCarthy, because this was their window, and Dak, you know.
Yeah, I think as long as Jerry Jones is alive, they're not going to go into a rebuild mode. So just because of that, they're going to stay competitive. He's going to spend as much money. They're not going to do it the correct way as far as rebuilding. Defensive side of the ball, so much talent. Even with the injury to Diggs that you had this year at corner, you had Gilmore step up, and then Bland, who had, I think, 6 pick sixes this year, and you have Parsons.
Yeah.
They built a great defense out there. I'm going to put equal. I think they'll be competitive out there in that division, and then get in the playoffs and see what happens from that point. Philly, up or down?
Down.
Yeah, that's a weird
I think that started to fall apart at the end of the year. I have no clue what's going to go on out there. The coaching situation seems really weird. Yeah, that's just such an odd situation, man. So much talent, but I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, shit, for 8 or 9 weeks, they were clearly the best team in the NFC. I mean, by far and away. A.J. Brown and fucking Devontae Smith, and fucking, obviously you had Hurts, and injuries caught up to him. That, it seems like everybody hates the head coach out there, including the players. So I think that's a disaster waiting to happen.
And then he fucking brings Patricia in as a DC. What the fuck?
Yeah. And there was players.
Why?
And Slay, remember when Slay left Detroit? All the stuff he was saying about Patricia, how he said, you don't belong in the league, and how were you a fucking first round pick? And then he's your DC. That had to be awkward as shit, but yeah, fucking mess out there, man. But he said all that talent is fucking horrible. That thing collapsed for Philadelphia. I mean, Tampa Bay put it on pretty good in that fucking playoff game. The Giants.
Yeah, they did.
Giants, up or down? Saquon Barkley, side note, will be a free agent coming up if they don't franchise tag him, but you got Giants, up or down?
I think they're going to stay right around the same and kind of be a mess. That quarterback situation is a disaster. I don't know what they're going to do to remedy that. But man, there is just a lot of shit swirling around that organization.
Yeah, I got them crashing and burning. I think they're going to really bottom out next year because they said the quarterback situation. I don't think they want to tie money up in Saquon, even though he's your best offensive weapon. I think they're going to let him walk. I think it's going to be really bad next year for the Giants. And then after that, you can kind of come up because they're going to have some high draft picks this year and next year as well. Washington, up or down?
Kind of feels like down, doesn't it? Kind of feels like a mess out there. I think Ben Johnson made the right move not going out there. That's I don't get the hire.
I don't either.
Bieniemy getting fired didn't surprise me. He did nothing out there. He looked terrible. That new ownership. So you're probably going to have some transitional time where they're going to be pretty bad.
Yeah, I got them down big time too. I think Eric Bieniemy was actually probably, thank God that they let him go. To be honest with you, you talk about a guy who was a hot coordinator and for whatever fucking reason never got a head coaching job. I think he can maybe resurrect his career, kind of get that status back as being a hot OC somewhere else, and then get a head coaching job. Because I think out of anybody in the league, he definitely deserves one. And why the fuck he's not a head coach anywhere, I don't really understand. That was kind of weird to me, that whole thing that he never got a job. But NFC North, let's start with the Lions. Up or down?
Same.
Oh,
I don't see them. I think they're around the same. I don't see them markedly worse unless something disastrous happens, like Goff snaps his leg or something.
No, don't say that.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be right around the same.
I think they're up. What were they? 12-5? 12-5 or 11-6.
Yeah.
I think they're up, man. I really, really do. I'm out of that phase where, oh my God, the Lions. It feels weird talking about them being good. They draft so well, man. They have such a track record of drafting well. You might get your, for the needs for the Lions, for me, it's corner, it's a defensive end pass rusher, and it's another wide receiver, because Jameson Williams, if you're not throwing it 50 yards downfield or giving him an end around, they're just not getting him the ball. And I don't understand what the deal is with that. I don't know if he can't get open on slants, he can't get open on curl routes. I don't know why it's just 50-yard bombs every goddamn play. But I think they need another receiver in a corner. But I got the Lions way up just on the strength of the fact that they draft so good. I think even with the low draft pick, they're going to get a starter out of it, whether it's a receiver or corner or whatever. So I got the Lions way, way up there. For me, Green Bay, up or down?
Oh, way up.
Yeah.
They're going to contend for that division next year, and I think they're going to be a problem for everybody, including the Lions.
Yeah, for sure. That's another team I got way up. Green Bay. I mean, shit. Green Bay and the Lions both had the Niners on the rope, and that should have been your NFC Championship game, was Green Bay and the Lions. San Francisco got by the skin of their teeth against both those teams. From the north, Minnesota, up or down?
Down, because it kind of seems like Kirk Cousins is going to be out of there. I don't get what they're looking at. I think that coach is going to get his ass scared. So, yeah, down.
Yeah, I agree. I got one of them as my team's way, way down, Minnesota. I think Cousins leaves. Justin Jefferson, I haven't heard anything yet coming out of him being moved at the draft. But if Cousins is leaving, why even keep Jefferson there? Unless you can grab a big-name quarterback. I'd move him to blow that whole thing up. So, yeah, Minnesota way down for me. Chicago, interesting one. Up or down?
Down. They did the number one thing that you never fucking do. You do not bring back a coach. He's going to get a staff reset and a new quarterback. Somebody else did that. The fucking Lions with Matt Patricia, and they let him draft Jeff fucking Okudah. You don't do that shit. That is going to be an unmitigated disaster. They could have had Harbaugh out there. It would have been a perfect fit for him. Culture-wise, he played there, would have been perfect. But no, they brought this dumbass Elphabus out there again, who's going to be just a complete disaster. They're going to move on from Justin Fields. They're going to get probably Caleb Williams. It's going to be a total mess. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah. I feel bad for Fields, because you can see the talents there, and he has a better arm to me than Lamar Jackson. I do feel bad for Justin Fields. They have the second and fifth pick, I think, something like that, kind of like what Houston had. Houston had to trade up to do that, but yeah, Chicago has the draft picks to turn this thing around. It's just not going to be next year, so I have them way down as well. The South, probably the worst division in fucking football. Tampa Bay, up or down?
Down. What are they really? Yeah, I think they got an idiot for a head coach. No.
Yeah, I got them equal too.
They got their ring, but you know.
Right.
Yeah.
The Saints, up or down?
Down. I don't get what they're doing out there. They don't have a quarterback. Their coach is probably going to get fired next year. That was a terrible hire. They could have had Danny Boy, but I don't get what's going on there.
Falcons, up or down?
Down. That's another shitty situation without a quarterback.
Yeah, and I don't know what the fuck they're doing with John Robinson, man. I don't. You take a running back that high, fucking use him in the goal line. What the fuck? I don't. Oh, that shit aggravated me for him. He's got to be sitting there like, okay, I'm a first round running back, and you're rotating me, and then you're not bringing me in goal line situations. I mean, what the fuck? A waste of a goddamn draft pick. If you're taking a running back, use his ass, man. What the fuck? Carolina, up or down?
Down. That boy, that just looks like a situation that's going to end the way Washington did, with the owner being forced to sell. You got Tepper out there getting huge fines, suspensions, throwing shit at fans.
Oh God,
I would not work for that. I would not work for that guy. That's an unmitigated fucking disaster.
I have a sick sense of humor, and I love stories like that for some reason. That shit was great.
Well, we have the same sense of humor.
Oh my God, man. I love that shit. I mean, fucking throwing shit at fans and stuff. That's great. Yeah, I think Bryce Young's a fucking disaster out there. Kyle Murray 2.0, maybe even fucking worse. That thing's falling apart. Way down for Carolina. The West, the 49ers, up or down?
The same. I don't really see them going anywhere. I think their roster seems to be pretty intact. They look pretty good. I think they're going to continue to be dominant out there.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Probably add some pieces. The defense, I think they got those guys under contract for a while. Besides Chase Young, I think Chase Young will be a free agent if they don't wrap him up long term. Rams, this is an interesting one for the Rams because there's some young players out there, but the core is Stafford, and who knows how long he's going to stay around. So, and the coach as well, McVay. So you got Rams up or down?
Down. I didn't. They got hot this year, and they weren't that good. But they got hot at the right time. So, yeah, I think that's kind of another mess too, because I think they're still pretty constrained financially with the bad deal they've got out there. And where are you going to go in that division unless you make a lot of changes? Because San Fran is really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it's a confusing one because there's a lot of nice pieces. As far as what they did, and that running back they got's good too, and that little short receiver, what's his name, Piku or some shit, who was tearing up.
Puka Nacua.
I called him a motherfucker about 400 times against the Lions. He looks, when I seen his height and weight, I thought he was smaller than what they showed. He just looked like a little wide receiver, and you see he was like 6'1" or some shit. I can't believe his height.
Yeah.
But it depends on Stafford. Like I said, that's really the piece right there that's going to make you go up and down. If he stays, I think they're going to be about the same. They'll be competitive, but they're not going to go 12-5. They might go 10-7. I can't figure out these new fucking numbers. 9-8. It's for his.
Yeah, tell me about
16, it. Man, it's fucking blowing my mind. Seattle, up or down?
Down. That was another bizarre coaching firing. I get he's old, but he was kind of the glue that held them together. Yeah, what are they going to do? A quarterback out there? Kenneth Walker, their best player outside of DK Metcalf. Yeah, it just kind of seems like another mess out there, doesn't it?
Yeah, they got some nice pieces. I like you said, Metcalf. Defense, they drafted Witherspoon out of Illinois. They got Tariq Woolen the year before. So there's pieces there. I got them going up. But, I mean, Geno Smith, I guess, I was going to say, who knows what Geno Smith you're getting, but he's had 2 good years. So, I mean, but that was under Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll might not be the best X's and O's when it comes to offense, but it was just something about his personality that the players just really seemed to follow besides that whole shit with Russell Wilson. A lot of people were kind of pissed off with him, favoritism towards Russell Wilson, but I have them up, slightly up. And the last team, the Arizona Cardinals. Who the fuck gives a shit about the Arizona Cardinals? I've never met an Arizona Cardinal fan in my fucking goddamn life. But you got Arizona up or down?
I got them down like an aircraft crashing into the ground. That is an unmitigated mess. Kyler Murray fucking sucks. That coach is an imbecile. The ownership group stinks. There's nothing in their future that's any good at all. They're the biggest mess in football outside of Carolina.
Yeah, I agree completely, man. And they picked up Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, the wide receiver, didn't do shit. The whole injury with Murray too. Who fuck cares either way? I don't think. Murray's one of those guys. So I think you'll find a GM or an owner who hears that name and might make a run at him. But I think him and Bryce Young are one the same as far as their career. All right, we'll go over some
completely agreed.
Storylines here. Zach Wilson. This can't make you feel good, man, if you're Zach Wilson. Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, was interviewed last night during the NFL Awards show. He was asked if they need to add a backup quarterback during the offseason. His reply is, yeah, you need a backup. We didn't have one last year. So it's not,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so, unless he's talking about Tim Boyle, the other quarterback who actually started ahead of Zach Wilson at one point. Kind of felt like shit, man, right? Damn.
Yeah, that's yikes. That's a mess out there with that whole quarterback situation. I feel so bad for Robert Saleh being stuck with that.
Yeah, he threatened him too. He said that he made it clear that he expects some some big shit going down next year with that Jets team. Aaron Rodgers' injury didn't help. There is talent out there, but man, Wilson, number 2 pick in the draft from 2021. Definitely a reach on that one. The other thing too, man, is Aaron Rodgers seems to have almost a GM voice in that team, kind of like LeBron out there in the Lakers, right? It just seems like any move that he wants them to make, they fucking jump. Weird.
Yeah, and how much does he really have in the tank? The guy's going to be coming off of a blown out Achilles. He's and he's drama in and of himself. So that's a
I think a couple days ago, and I didn't catch it, but I know Rogan had him on again. I haven't seen any quotes yet about getting high in a cave or anything, but I'm sure there were some inside there. But yeah, that's a mess out there for the Jets. The Jets haven't made the playoffs in 13 fucking years.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah, it's the longest playoff drought in North American sports right now. It's the Jets for their playoffs. It's been since the Sanchez, Mark Sanchez fumble, hasn't it? Wow. 13 years. Yeah, it's shit. 13 years it has to be, because you're back in 2011 at that point.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Holy shit. I didn't think about it that way.
Yep.
That is a long time.
That's
think about
wild.
that, though, Mark. Sanchez got drafted the same year Stafford did. And he was out of the league good 5 years before him.
Oh, he was fucking terrible.
Yeah. The butt fumble. That's all everybody remembers. It's his ass going in his offensive lineman's fucking face. Or other way around. His face going in his offensive lineman's ass.
Somebody's face was some ass.
That whole team was ass. All right.
It was.
Former Minnesota Vikings head coach Don Zimmer is the new defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. He was head coach of the Vikings from 2014 to 2021. Was also a former defensive coordinator for the Cowboys from 2000 to 2006. I think this makes a difference here with that Cowboy team.
I don't know. They just keep rotating through staff out there too, man.
I mean, like we said before, the talent is really on the defensive side of the ball. So, I mean, and they've already been playing pretty well. So I think it kind of keeps them about the same. Mike Vrabel, I don't know if you heard this story. He said apparently he was too intimidating physically to even be considered for a head coaching job amongst some owners. At least that's what the rumor is. How weird is that shit, right?
Man, some of these owners are just bizarre people.
Just old men.
They just really are.
Yeah. I mean,
used to deal with.
Well, Dan Campbell. The fuck, like Dan Campbell can probably kick. I think the Detroit Lions head coach can beat the fuck out of almost any coach in the NFL. I don't see any coach that can take Dan Campbell out, right? Like who would? Take
maybe there's one. DeMeco Ryans. He was a fucking linebacker. He still looks pretty jacked. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He could give him a fight.
Yeah, that would probably be the time.
Certainly not fucking McDaniel down in down in Miami. He'd take a look and he'd throw away.
Did you ever see the YouTube thing on him? Or not the YouTube thing, but the interview when he was like 15 years old, when he was a ball boy for the Broncos?
Oh, yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, it's just weird that, he's kind of always been the spotlight with football. But yeah, that Vrabel thing kind of confused the fuck out of me. We'll go over the Hall of Fame class real quick here. Devin Hester, pretty much a pure kickoff returner, punt returner, made the Hall of Fame. Dwight Freeney for the Colts, great defensive end. I think he played for the Lions for maybe a hot minute, right? I think he did. But Dwight Freeney.
Yeah, I think he had like a season.
Yeah, I think he was. Remember we had that dude from Tennessee too. That Schwartz brought over. Oh, what the fuck was his name? He was another defensive end. Remember he was on the line.
Oh yeah, they had.
What the fuck was his name?
Yeah, they had him at the end of his career too.
Yeah, he had like a goatee and shit. But yeah, that's what I was getting at, is getting these guys who were big names 4 or 5 years ago in the twilight of their career. Julius Peppers, one of my favorite players of all time. 4th all-time in sacks. Had 11 interceptions as a defensive end. Pretty crazy. He'll be in the Hall of Fame. Patrick Willis, short career, but an impact that he had out there. I was kind of actually surprised that usually football you got to have a longer stint, but Willis was dominating when he played, former linebacker for the 49ers. Andre Johnson, got in the NFL Hall of Fame, led the NFL in receptions and receiving yards twice. Always funny with these wide receivers that Andre Johnson got in on his first try, if I'm not mistaken, but it took Terrell Owens 3 different fucking times. He was, second in pretty much every important statistical category for wide receivers. Any thoughts on these Hall of Famers?
No, it was a good class. The only one that got left out, Reggie Wayne, didn't get in. It's a guy absolutely deserving of it.
Yeah. Reggie Wayne and Andre Johnson, I guess, is what it came down to for those wide receivers. I really wouldn't mind putting Patrick Willis out and putting Reggie Wayne, like you said. He put up some big numbers out there for the Colts. Very consistent wide receiver. All right, let's just slide over to this last little story before we get to our Super Bowl prediction. Nick Saban going to College Game Day. Would you rather him be on the set of College Game Day, or do you want him in the booth during a game?
Set. They need to put Corso out to pasture because his health is not good.
Yeah, that is kind of sad actually watching him deteriorate like he has. Yeah, I think being on the set, it really does give Nick Saban more of a chance to kind of break things down. When you're in the booth, you only got about 15 seconds in between the play to kind of break stuff down. I think he'll be great. He seems like a smart ass, kind of like Bill Belichick, comes from that same family tree of coaching out there. So I think it'd be fun to see him out there. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing Saban on set. Kind of sad though when you think about that he's not roaming the sidelines, and probably just because of all this NIL shit is I think really the reason why he's pushed out. He don't feel like fucking paying a high school kid $5,000 just to walk around Tuscaloosa. Excuse me. So yeah, I think.
Well, speaking of that, did you see the news that happened right before we got on with Chip Kelly?
No, I did not.
Chip Kelly. Breaking news.
All right, what do we got?
Chip Kelly is UCLA to become the offensive coordinator for Ohio State.
Are you fucking serious? Oh man, I would have let off with that. Is he? He's going to be the OC for Ohio State?
Yeah, and Villani and Rico were talking about it, and it's exactly what you just said. A lot of these old school coaches, they're not going to deal with this NIL shit anymore. So fuck it. I'll just go call plays. Brian Hartline, you can go do my recruiting for me. That's it.
Wow. Well, I'm hearing that fresh right now. God, has anybody ever left a head coaching job just to go be an OC somewhere?
He did.
Yeah.
And he's not even going to the pros. He's staying exactly where he's at.
You know, Ohio State, it seems like every time you go on ESPN, they've been dominating the headlines with the recruiting. Like, they are fucking stacked and loaded for the recruiting class coming in next year. Wow, I'm really digesting this, man. That is some wild shit, because obviously Michigan losing Minter, the defensive coordinator that they had, going over to the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh plucked him out of there. Wow, that is some crazy shit. That up-tempo fucking no-huddle. Speaking of Nick Saban, who couldn't stand that shit, that no-huddle run. Might have to go over that here later episode, man. I did not see that. Wow, Chip Kelly, new offensive coordinator for the goddamn Ohio State Buckeyes. You think they're pissed off they lost 3 games in a row?
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a college episode, but I think Michigan is going to be an utter mitigated disaster next year, and I think Ohio State's going to dominate the Big Ten.
It seems like it. Like I said, it seems like every time you pick up ESPN, it's always something about Ohio State, recruiting kids, getting transfers and shit. I think it's safe to say that the donors put a shitload of money into the team. They are not happy losing 3 in a row. Wow. That's crazy shit. All right, well, Super Bowl, it's going down Sunday. 49ers against the Chiefs. Niners 14-5, Chiefs 14-6. Niners are 1.5-point favorites, at least at the time of this recording. Got off some bad first half starts so far in the playoffs against Green Bay. And the Lions, the Chiefs, can kind of be grinding out a couple of these games here. So we'll give our prediction, and then we'll also give our MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and a score. I got the Niners taking this 27-24. I think McCaffrey is your fucking MVP. Who do you got?
I'll flip that. I think there's some score. 21-17, 24-21, something like that. But I think it's going to be the Chiefs. It'll be a tight game, and there will be some bullshit penalty late that'll Just come in really late and perfect for the Chiefs to win, and then they can have Taylor Swift on the field and zoom the camera in on her 17 million times.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Who do you got for your MVP?
Kelsey. Retarded Patty.
Oh, Mahomes.
Yeah.
All right, so you got Mahomes. I think Pacheco, if Kansas City wins, will actually get it. I think there's going to be a running back.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
I really do. I think running backs. Pacheco runs so goddamn hard. He's smaller than Marshawn Lynch, but he has that same style where he just absolutely attacks that hole when it opens up. So, yep, I got McCaffrey and the Niners. You have the Chiefs winning it all. I still can't shake that damn Chip Kelly thing, man. That is some wild fucking shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
On all different levels, like to be a head coach somewhere and just to dip out to be an OC. How long do you think that was in the works for? Because that's not something you don't just call a head coach and be like, hey, do you want to be an OC? That's a downgrade.
Yeah.
Like that had to have been going on for a while, the talks out there. I don't know if there's tampering with head coaches. I would think there is, but for college, I don't fucking know. He's got to have some kind of breach of contract, right?
The Boston College coach did that a couple of weeks ago, the same exact thing. So I think it's going to be a trend, man. You saw some of these older coaches retire, don't want to deal with the NIL. You've seen a lot of college basketball go to the older generation. These guys, this is probably going to start being a trend.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up, man, because there was something I didn't want to talk about. I wanted to talk about, and I didn't have it written down here. You know, we've been saying since goddamn beginning of the summer when we did our college football shit that there needs to be a salary cap in place for college football. And Pitino comes out and says the same shit that I did, I think, about a week ago, that they need to put a salary cap structure amongst the big conferences. And I completely agree, man. You got to have some kind of structure because this shit is just so crazy, and I don't even know how it works. As far as I think they can't recruit with an NIL deal, right? But they can secure their own NIL deal. Like, I forgot one of the recruiting teams for, was it USC? I forgot what school got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
I don't think, and I think, honestly, I don't think it was malicious. They probably just didn't understand the rules like a lot of us don't. I think they were recruiting him based on an NIL deal instead of him doing it on his own or some shit, which I don't see what the fuck the difference is. I don't, but I think there needs to be a salary cap, in structure out there for the whole college football thing. But that is all I have, man.
Did you see just one more thing on that topic? Did you see the Big Ten and the SEC are forming this big advisory committee?
Yep, and that's another thing that we talked about before. I think that's the beginning stages, because that's not all they talked about. That's the beginning stages of them setting up a super conference. That's all that is.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, they shut the door and they said, wink, wink, okay, let's talk about this. And they knew what the hell they were talking about. There's no way that they got together and that wasn't brought up. That they didn't sit there and say, okay, anyways, how many teams do they have now between them? It's got to be like 32, right? It's got to be.
Something like that.
So there's your fucking league right there. There's your league right fucking there.
Yep.
The only thing that would be kind of funny about that, though, is you got Miami. There's a couple other powerhouses that don't really have a landing spot. Notre Dame. That you'll have to bring in.
They're gonna have to win.
Yeah, you'll have to bring in, and then I don't know. So you'll basically have an NFL for college. It'll be ran the same way, I'm guessing. You'll have like a 16-game schedule. But what happens to everybody else, though?
They're fucked. They're left out. Nobody cares about them anymore.
Yeah, I think they would still get TV deals. And you could maybe
probably with
soccer.
Some local networks.
What if you did it like soccer, where you wouldn't demote, I guess, a team out of the super conference, but you could maybe keep adding. But I mean, you could look.
I can demote a couple.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to bring Indiana and Illinois, then you got Miami. Like, hey, what about us? Why the fuck? Just because they're part of the Big Ten, they get to be in this shit. Yeah, I think college football is this whole college athletics in general is just going to turn into, like we said, a minor league organization, and it's getting there pretty quick. Maybe another 4 or 5 years, I think, and this whole thing's over. They can tell the NCAA to go fuck themselves, because really the NCAA, all it is just a governing body. The schools, these
Yeah.
colleges aren't
Doesn't
obligated.
cover anything.
Right. They're not obligated to be part of it. They can exit out and just start their own shit. NC is just its own little thing that
Yep.
like, tell them to go fuck themselves.
Agreed.
That's that, man. I am all done.
Good shit, good sir.
All right, there it is. Some football, some college football talk. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Get a hangover. See ya.